Last week, if you were paying attention and not scrolling for the comments section, I laid out a very specific, very deliberate set of ground rules while breaking down the villains that genuinely challenged the Doctor, not the icons, not the brand mascots, not the monsters the BBC wheeled out for nostalgia or marketing purposes. I mean the enemies that cornered him, the ones that forced compromise, moral discomfort, loss, or permanent damage, the villains that forced a reaction beyond a clever line or a last-minute escape. And yes, the rules mattered. One villain per Doctor, or in this case, companion. No repeats, no loopholes, no, well, technically, this incarnation, nonsense. The Daleks were taken immediately, Mars, because they had to be. They are the definitive challenge of the War Doctor, the endpoint of escalation, genocide answered with genocide, survival justified by annihilation. That slot was burned on purpose, used up, gone. The Emperor, a different beast entirely, a reflection, a mirror of ideology and survival at all costs, not a recurring race. And the Valeyard? Non-negotiable. If you don't think the Valeyard is the Sixth Doctor's defining adversary, you weren't watching. Simple as that. That list wasn't about iconography, it was about removal. The moment a Doctor is no longer who he was before. The moment a line is crossed that cannot be uncrossed. Once you apply those rules honestly, another thing becomes painfully obvious. Most of the real damage in Doctor Who doesn't happen to the Doctor at all. It happens to the companions. They don't regenerate, they don't get rewrites, they don't get to forget. They're the ones who absorb the fallout of the Doctor's decisions. They're the ones forced to live with what the universe actually looks like once the speeches end. So the same rules apply here. One defining adversary per companion. No repeats, no Daleks. They're already accounted for. No excuses. This is about challenge, not proximity, not popularity, not screen time, not, cute moments with a monster of the week. And before anyone starts frothing about missions, yes, audio companions are skipped. Not because they're irrelevant, but because that's a separate discussion. And honestly, if you've got opinions, you already know where to place them. This is about the televised companions, the ones who carried weight on screen, the ones who broke quietly while fandom cheered the monster of the week. Now, welcome to the Snake Pit, where we're full of bile and venom. I'm your host, Snake Daemon. And today we're looking at the Doctor's companions and the villains that truly challenged them, broke them, or forced them to grow. And unlike the modern series, this was difficult. Susan is the bridge of empathy and intuition among the TARDIS crew, uniquely attuned to the thoughts and feelings of others. Unlike companions who solve problems through technology or sheer force, Susan's challenge is telepathic diplomacy, understanding alien minds that communicate in ways humans cannot. On the sense sphere, this ability is not just useful, it is indispensable. Her defining trait is moral courage in the face of coercion. When the Sensorites insist she stay as a hostage to ensure the humans' safety, Susan agrees willingly. Not out of fear, but because she values the lives of others above her own freedom. Her decision forces the Doctor to confront the limits of her agency, creating tension that highlights the complexity of leadership, trust, and autonomy. Susan is also the emotional conscience of the group. She comforts John, navigates the Sensorites' telepathy, and translates intentions into action, ensuring the crew can act strategically despite their technological disadvantage. Her presence turns crises into opportunities for negotiation and moral clarity rather than brute confrontation. Ultimately, Susan embodies the tension between youth and wisdom, agency and responsibility. She acts with empathy that adults in the narrative often lack, and her insight directly shapes the survival of both humans and Sensorites. Susan survives her ordeal, but the cost is the heavy responsibility of seeing herself as a lifeline, not just for the humans, but for the fragile trust between species. Barbara's challenge is arrogance disguised as compassion. She believes she can fix history, improve it, civilize it. Tlotoxl isn't just an antagonist, he's a cultural immune response. He exposes the flaw in Barbara's thinking, moral certainty without consequence. The real lesson isn't that history can't be changed, it's that imposing yourself as superior is still colonialism, even when you mean well. Barbara loses something here, certainty, and she never fully gets it back. Ian Chesterton is the rock of resilience and practicality among the TARDIS travelers. Unlike companions whose strengths lie in intuition or moral empathy, Ian excels through courage, resourcefulness, and physical action, often placing himself between danger and those he cares about. His challenge is constant threat and high-stakes responsibility, whether rescuing Barbara in the temple traps of Marinus or navigating the lethal jungles and ice fields. Ian's survival skills and quick thinking are indispensable. His defining trait is protective loyalty, which manifests both emotionally and physically. Time and again, Ian remains the first to volunteer for dangerous missions. Whether to confront hostile creatures, retrieve critical keys, or shield companions from harm, he often acts as the moral and physical anchor to the Doctor's plans, providing a human counterbalance to the Doctor's sometimes abstract or reckless strategies. Ian also demonstrates pragmatic intelligence under pressure. He deciphers cryptic codes, improvises solutions to traps, and coordinates with companions to navigate threats that rely on logic and observation rather than brute force. His combination of level-headed thinking and courage allows him to act decisively where others might freeze or falter. Ultimately, Ian embodies heroism through steadfastness, loyalty, and decisive action. He is rarely the one to seek the spotlight, yet he frequently ensures that others survive and succeed because of his intervention. Whereas companions like Susan negotiate and empathize, Ian protects and perseveres, often putting the safety of others above his own. His presence reminds the TARDIS crew and the audience that courage is not just daring, but persistence in the face of relentless danger. Vicki's defining challenge is deception, weaponized through trust. Bennett doesn't oppose her openly, he controls her reality. After murdering a fellow passenger, crashing on Dodo, and killing the remaining crew, including Vicki's father, he constructs an elaborate lie to protect himself. Vicki survives only because she was ill, and remains vulnerable because she believes him. The Kikilian isn't an alien threat, but a disguise, a performance designed to frighten and isolate her. Bennett uses staged recordings and false narratives to keep Vicki compliant, turning her innocence into his shield. Vicki's trial isn't intellectual, it's psychological. She must recognize that the real monster isn't an alien outside the ship, but the trusted adult beside her. Her growth comes from clarity, not cleverness, and it costs her the last illusion of safety she has left. Stephen's challenge is systemic, moral, and strategic. The savages, what a primitive society exploited by the city's technologically advanced elders, test everything he stands for. He must balance courage, compassion, and tactical thinking while confronting oppression on a scale he's never faced. Every choice is consequential. Save lives, fight the city's authorities, or risk becoming complicit in exploitation. Stephen is forced to improvise, lead allies, and protect the innocent, all while under constant surveillance and threat. The story doesn't give him a clear villain to defeat. Instead, Stephen must navigate a web of power, hierarchy, and morality. His victory isn't brute force. It's earned through intelligence, ethical courage, and leadership. The savages leave him changed, stronger, and aware of the costs of action in a morally complex universe. Katarina's challenge is conceptual displacement. She is a woman taken from a mythic Bronze Age worldview and dropped into a universe of technology, politics, and total war. Unlike other companions, Her trial is not adaptation through learning, but survival through belief. She understands loyalty, sacrifice, and obedience, but not machines, space travel, or the moral ambiguity of interstellar conflict. The Daleks, Chen, and the Galactic Alliance are beyond her frame of reference. She interprets danger through faith and devotion rather than strategy or skepticism. This makes her uniquely vulnerable and uniquely sincere. Her defining moment comes not through growth into modern thinking, but through absolute commitment. When faced with Kirkson's threat, Katarina chooses self-sacrifice without hesitation, acting according to the only moral certainty she possesses, that giving her life to save others is right. It is not confusion or panic, but deliberate resolve. Katarina's story is tragic precisely because she never gets the chance to evolve. Her death exposes the cruelty of the Daleks' war spilling across time and history, claiming lives that were never meant to understand it. She is not an action hero or a strategist. She is a casualty of a universe that has grown too complex, too ruthless, and too far removed from innocence. Sara Kingdom doesn't get a monster. She gets a man. And that's exactly the point. Mavic Chen isn't threatening because of raw power or alien superiority. He's threatening because he represents institutional betrayal. A human collaborator who believes survival means selling everyone else out first. For Sara, this isn't abstract evil. It's personal, ideological, and inherited. She's raised inside his orbit. His worldview is the water she swims in, loyalty to power, not principle. When she breaks away, she doesn't just defect from a villain. She rejects an entire moral framework that told her collaboration was pragmatism and resistance was suicide. Chen challenges Sara because he forces her to choose what kind of human she is, knowing full well the cost will be death. And it is. She doesn't survive long enough to be rewarded, vindicated, or remembered properly. That's the cruelty of it. Sara Kingdom's challenge isn't about beating Chen, it's about outgrowing him and dying for it. That's Doctor Who at its bleakest, and it's why she belongs here. Dodo's challenge is responsibility under consequence. In the Ark, a simple sneeze sets off a chain reaction. A common cold spreads among a vulnerable human population, weakening them and indirectly allowing the monoids to seize control. Her trial is not in direct combat or quick thinking alone, but in facing the ethical weight of inadvertent harm. Throughout the story, Dodo must navigate fear, uncertainty, and moral guilt, while helping the Doctor and Stephen mitigate the disaster she unwittingly caused. Her actions, delivering medicine, following the Doctor's guidance, and assisting in containing the fallout, are measured, thoughtful, and essential. She learns firsthand that even minor choices can have monumental consequences, and that heroism sometimes lies in responsible action and moral courage rather than boldness or force. Dodo's growth is subtle but critical. She transforms from an impulsive, curious traveler into someone who understands the fragility of life, the dangers of ignorance, and the weight of unintended consequences, making her trials among the most ethically demanding of any companion. Polly's challenge is ideological rather than physical. WOTAN represents the surrender of human autonomy to systems designed for convenience, efficiency, and control. There is no invasion, no open tyranny, only the quiet replacement of decision-making with automation. Polly is confronted with a future where people are no longer oppressed, but managed. Her role is not to fight a monster, but to recognize the danger in compliance and passivity. WOTAN forces her to see how easily humanity gives up responsibility when it feels safe, and how quickly individuality is erased when thinking is outsourced. Polly's challenge is recognizing the threat before it becomes irreversible, and choosing resistance when obedience would be easier. Ben Jackson is defined by strength, courage, and a steadfast sense of duty. As a companion, he embodies the qualities of a protector, often placing himself in harm's way to ensure the safety of his friends and those unable to defend themselves. Ben thrives in high-stakes environments, whether subduing an uncontrollable convict, navigating perilous labor pits, or standing against the Macra's oppressive control of the colony. His bravery is both physical and moral, as he consistently chooses action over hesitation. A key aspect of Ben's character is his loyalty to friends. He often acts as the stabilizing force within the TARDIS team, supporting the Doctor, Polly, and Jamie when their plans falter or when danger threatens. His protective instincts are coupled with a practical, grounded intelligence. He reacts quickly, improvises under pressure, and isn't afraid to confront authority when he senses injustice. Ben is also notable for resisting control and coercion. In the Macra colony, his initial brainwashing begins to influence him, yet he ultimately breaks free, demonstrating a strong inner resolve. He combines streetwise pragmatism with moral courage, making him both relatable and dependable, a companion who is willing to act decisively when others are immobilized by fear or uncertainty. Ultimately, Ben represents the loyal everyman turned hero. His presence ensures that the TARDIS team always has a grounded, action-oriented counterpoint to the Doctor's sometimes abstract strategies, and his courage often turns the tide in situations where intellect alone would not suffice. In danger, he is unflinching. In leadership, he is quietly reliable. And in friendship, he is unwavering. Next week, Part 2 will tackle 8 more companions. Tegan, Sarah Jane, and beyond, exploring the adversaries that force them to grow, to survive, and to confront the universe in ways the Doctor could never fully protect them from. Because honestly, this isn't about screen time, popularity, or merch-friendly monsters. This is about the cost of survival, the pressure of living, and the moments that change a person permanently. Thanks for dropping by the Snake Pit, where we thrive on untapped potential and lost opportunities. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, like the video, and leave your opinions in the comments, where naturally I won't read them. Until next time, stay venomous.